Listen, we can all name the heroes with capes in the comic books and the movies, but we all know our real superheroes are always overlooked, including the men and women in the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard, and other branches of the U.S. Armed Forces. And my first guests are retired soldiers, but once a soldier, always a soldier, right? Now they are passionate about finding resources for fellow veterans who suffer from mental health issues, homelessness, and unemployment. Please welcome to the show retired Lieutenant Colonel Amos King and retired Lieutenant Colonel Leonard Rusher. Gentlemen, I thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, indeed. I want to hear about the work that you're doing for veterans because it is noble and it is honorable and it came from your own personal experiences. But first, I want our viewers to learn more about your experience. What did you do and how did you serve?
I was commissioned in ROTC back in 1983 out of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I was commissioned in the Signal Corps, communication, and I spent 28 years in the military. Those 28 years, some good years, has good times, and very rewarding. Went abroad, I commanded overseas, and got to see a lot of things that I wouldn't have seen if I had not been in the military.
Right.
So it was real fun for me.
Good. That's good to hear. And then I know that there are always experiences though that still shape your life.
Absolutely.
And change what life is like when you come back as a veteran, right?
Well, you think about it all the time. To be honest with you, I have problems sleeping at night.
Still?
Yeah, still. Man.
And you've been, for context now, you've been out for how long?
Since 2011. I've been out that long. But it normally happens between 2 and 5.
In the morning?
In the morning.
It's that consistent.
Yeah.
And is it that you go back to memories or is it just stress, the anxiety of life that feels like it's tied to that? Or, I mean, how do you...
For me, because I was a commander and I was the guy that sent the soldiers over there, it's a great big concern if somebody don't come back. So you think about that.
Yeah.
An individual not coming back. In the back of your mind, you know somebody's not coming back. So I think about that. I think about their families.
The weight of carrying that, even though it was a command, it was an order, you understand what this could be about.
Yes.
It still hurts.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel Rusher, I see you nodding your head in agreement.
Yes, I'm in agreement because our lives are somewhat parallel and perpendicular. You know, for me, he went to ROTC. I did OCS after doing about 5 years in the military as an enlisted guy.
And for folks who don't understand what OCS?
OCS is Officer Candidate School. All right, so that's what I did, but our lives seem like parallel, so I am reliving all the things that he has just talked about. I did 33 years in the service, and I was a commander over in the desert, and I did 2 tours over in the desert. And some of the things that I saw, you know, I didn't so much see the bodies, but I did see all the damaged equipment. And there was a couple of times when I had to be the notification officer knocking on that mother's door, you know, and you well rehearsed, but when she opens that door and you have to tell her that your son has been killed, you know, it does something to you.
I imagine you've lost count of how many times you've had to stand at that door?
Well, I would say, actually, they actually give you a very minimal number because it can't.
Because it can be so traumatic.
It can be so traumatic. So I only had to do it a few times, but it was one time too many. One time too many to actually knock on someone's door and give them that bad news.
The worst thing happened to me where I was on duty, staff duty at night in California, and one of the soldiers was headed up to pick up his parents from the airport, San Francisco airport. And you can look out the airport and see the traffic and stuff on Highway 101. So it was an accident. The young man was in an accident and got killed. So we had to call Presidio San Francisco to notify San Francisco airport to tell his parents. They had to go over there and tell his parents.
And I think that's an important note because I think people think it's always about having to report something that has happened horribly abroad. Sometimes it's in an accident, sometimes it's in training,
it's training.
Right, in basic training,
Yeah.
you know? The trauma happens at different levels in different spaces.
It does. One of my most traumas that I had experienced as far as me dealing with it was I was the notificator, or I was notified, so she was already notified. The issue was I had to go with her to pick up the body from the airplane, and that was heavy on me.
Right.
On the inside, I kept her afloat,
course.
you know. But when I got
That's
her
what
into the hearse,
soldiers do.
I was just like,
So, and that is heavy. I can tell
Yes.
just even looking in your eyes as you talk
Yeah.
about it. How did you turn the weight of what you two experienced into advocacy for others in your retired years?
Well, for
And
me,
why?
I was watching television one day and I noticed this young man had been killed by a police officer, and I had been shot myself. And I said to the Lord, if I ever get off this bed, I'm gonna do something in my community. And I did that, and I knew I could help him. So I started an organization, Justice for Veterans. We was out there almost 5 years helping, and the police got to do jail time because he was wrong for what he did. So you want to give back because you can. We're in a position where we can give back. And that's what I wanted to do.
And that the giving back component comes at so many different levels, right?
Correct.
Because where there's homelessness, there's mental health, there's physical health, there are the issues with the connections between the VA. There's so much.
Yes, it's so much. It's tentacles all over, trying to connect the veteran to those resources. But whatever little bit a person can do, or whatever a little bit of agency can do, is a step in the right direction. You know, so my love for veterans just happened when I came out of the service, as I was telling Mr. Allen here, that Mr. King here, that when I left the service, there was no job for me. Compared to, I want to say, like my counterparts, as soon as they left the Army on Friday, they walked into the job on Monday.
Right.
That didn't happen for me.
That doesn't happen all the
That
time.
didn't happen for me. And learning about what the benefits were, I eventually got hired, and I'm like, wow, this is a hidden secret, you know. So,
And it's the access to those benefits,
It's the
though, right? I
access-
know you've got some pointers about how people can maximize
Yes,
that. It's a
and
frustrating, it's a bureaucracy.
It's a
but-
bureaucracy, and that's the one thing I try to talk to veterans, because a lot of veterans don't know, a lot of caregivers don't know. And so, because like I said, if I saw him on the street and I saw that he was a veteran, I said, the first thing I ask him is, are you getting your military benefits? And if he says no, I said, you call me and I'm going to sit down with you and just tell me your story.
And I want to pause there because so
Yes.
often the answer is no, right?
Yes.
There's so many veterans who aren't taking advantage of that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, to
Yes.
how to start that process.
Right.
Because sometimes the bureaucracy alone
Oh,
can
yes.
be a
Can
turn
turn you off.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.